Man-hating men. Men who hate other men. Why are you bringing other men down like that? What's up, guys? It's Rose Moulet. Have you ever been on Twitter? I'm sorry for you. And you see someone reply in the comments that they hate all men and that men are the worst. And then you go to their profile and their pronouns are he, him. Because I know I have, and when I confront them about this, they're usually like, oh, but I'm different. I'm a trans man. What? See, no. Why are you disrespecting yourself like that? Dude, I see you as a man, right? If all men are toxic and you hate all men, that includes you. The fact that you're actively trying to exclude yourself from that, you're being transphobic to yourself. And they always get so mad at me when I ask them this anyway. It's like, I understand that maybe you've had trauma, like before you transition, right? And that is valid. I'm not denying that, but to just hate all men as a concept, like, this is literally the same exact thing as if I were to go like, oh, I hate women are so dumb. And if someone confronts me being like, you're a woman too, and I'm like, yeah, I know, I'm such a dumb bitch, right? Like, people would call me a pick-me so fucking fast. I would get canceled so hard. But like, when trans men talk about how evil and horrible men are, they get applauded for it. So like, maybe y'all should learn not to hate a whole fucking gender. Blaming an entire group of people for your trauma is just learning bigoted behavior. Just because it's men or just because it's white people doesn't make it okay. I just feel like it's way too normalized and people just keep egging this behavior on, and I don't like it. Anyway, I've had many conversations with people like this in the past, but one conversation on Twitter that specifically sticks out to me is me talking to this one person, and this person randomly using they, them pronouns on me, despite the fact that I look, sound, and obviously am a woman. They thought that they were being nice and accepting, and I was saying to them like, I'm actually a woman, I'm she, her. They basically said to me, it's like, I don't care, I'm still using they, them. I literally said to them like, hey, these are my pronouns, don't call me they, them. And they're like, I don't care, I call everyone they, them. And I'm like, imagine being so woke that you misgender people. I'm reminded of this because I had a very similar conversation recently with someone completely different who also randomly just like called me they, them. And I said, no, I am a woman. And I'm actually kind of insulted that like you've called me they, them, because to me, that says that you don't think I pass. Yeah, you look like a man, but I don't want to be rude, so I'm just gonna call you they, them. Like, no. Hot take, I don't care what y'all think of this. If someone is wearing makeup, if someone's wearing a dress, if someone has long hair and clearly is trying to present as feminine, it doesn't matter if they pass or not. Like, y'all should use she, her, and if you're going that out of your way to look that feminine and you don't identify as she, her, I feel like you know what you're doing, and maybe change the way you present yourself, right? Like, huge controversial opinion. If you present yourself as one gender and then you get identified as that gender, like, there's an easy solution to that problem. Presentation is a huge part of gender identity. And all these people trying to act like they're different things, like, really? Like, what does that say? Like, I express my femininity by having long hair, by wearing makeup, by wearing feminine clothes. Are y'all really about to tell me that that shit isn't gendered? Are y'all really about to tell me that clothing is whatever? Because I hear this argument all the time, like, clothing isn't gendered. Anyone can wear a dress, right? But when you defeminize a dress, you are essentially boiling gender down purely to biology, and you're erasing trans people. When you say that a dress is not feminine, you're saying that the only thing that matters is how you look, is how you sound. Your actual gender presentation, oh, it doesn't matter, a man can wear a dress too. And that just reminds me so much of the fucking transphobic people. That reminds me so much of the fucking TERFs.
You can wear whatever clothing you want, you're still a fucking man.
Like, that is literally what you sound like to me. And y'all think you're woke? Y'all think you're accepting? Y'all are a bunch of clowns. Absolutely crazy. But I just had this similar exchange on Twitter, right? Something about fucking a Kanto. Like, this guy made this really ignorant thread about, I think her name is like Louisa or whatever, the muscular girl. And this guy was talking about how it was weird and that Disney shouldn't have made her a woman because she was strong, and it was very weird behavior, right? I'm not defending that thread. But the reply specifically was this guy who was talking about how, oh, men are like this. And obviously, it was just one tweet, and looking back, it wasn't like the most egregious thing. Like, obviously, this isn't the perfect example. I've seen way fucking worse. I've seen basically trans men say, like, I hate all men, and like, men are the worst, men are evil, men are like, I've seen it all. But this one guy was like, men say this, men blah blah blah. And I was like looking at his profile, and I'm like, I think I posted a picture of his pronouns in his bio that said he, him, and I responded with like question marks. All I'm saying is it's fucking weird to have he, him pronouns in your bio, identify as a man, and then go off on tangents all the time about how awful men are and how you hate all men. Like, do you hate yourself, or are you different? Because if you're different, does that imply that you're not actually a man? Because I don't believe that. If you hate men and you think all men are evil, then by your own definition, you are too. Either that or learn to grow up and realize that like all men aren't evil, which is what you should do. Go to therapy, please. Seriously, I hope you heal from your trauma. It's not healthy. Stop putting down other men. But anyway, I was having this lovely Twitter conversation because look, listen, we all know how lovely, amazing people on Twitter are, right? I totally did not just have K-pop stans tell me to end myself yesterday. That totally didn't happen. No, Twitter's a lovely, beautiful place full of lovely, beautiful people. So I respond to this comment, and I'm basically like, why is this dude with he, him pronouns in his bio saying that he hates men and saying like men do all this awful shit, right? And I'm just saying that I just think that that's fucking weird. And so someone says to me, genuinely, seriously, someone actually said this to me, unironically. They were like, well, him having he, him pronouns in his bio doesn't necessarily mean that he's a man. Like, what the fuck? Like, you can't be fucking serious. You've got to be fucking kidding me. Like, there's no way you unironically believe this. Like, are you saying that self-identification isn't valid? Like, are you so fucking woke that you're saying that pronouns in bio don't determine gender? Are you really gonna deny that from trans people now? Like, are you gonna say that, like, what you identify as yourself doesn't fucking matter? Like, the trans community is becoming more like TERFs. It's so fucking weird and I hate it. See, this is insulting to me for many reasons, right? If someone goes by she, her, it's pretty fucking obvious that that person identifies as a woman. And otherwise, if someone goes by he, him, it's pretty fucking obvious that that person identifies as a man. So to say, well, actually, you don't know that this person is a man, you're ignorant. You're an ignorant piece of shit. Just because this person uses he, him pronouns, why are you assuming his gender? Because he has his fucking pronouns in his fucking bio. What's not computing? What's not making sense to y'all? I swear, I'm a trans woman, but I hate trans people on Twitter sometimes. Some of y'all are lovely. Some of you are great, reasonable, normal, rational people, right? But some of you, I just feel sorry for you because, like, it sounds rough. So what's the moral of the story? If you came off this video thinking that I fucking hate trans people, clearly you are not understanding what I'm saying. And clearly you don't understand the fact that, once again, I am a fucking trans woman myself. Lastly, if you are a trans man and you hate men, or if you're just like a trans man in general and you want to provide that perspective, contact me. I have my email, I have my Discord. Just like leave a comment. I would love to set up a discussion with you. It can be on YouTube, it can be privately. I just love hearing other people's perspectives, and I just like to know the mindset, right? Part of me thinks that a lot of it does come from, like, you know, before transition, having to deal with like sexism. Like me, before I transitioned, like people wouldn't treat me the way that I wanted to be treated. And I know how fucking tough it is to essentially be denied femininity, being told you can't show emotion. Like, as a trans woman, like, that shit still gets to me, even though I transitioned when I was like 14. But I think the difference is, like, if a trans woman talks about, like, oh, I hate women, women are blah, 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 like, they get instantly, like, downvoted to oblivion. But if a trans woman talks about, like, I hate men, people are like, yeah, men are awful, men are evil, and it's, like, the double standard. Like, what is it with y'all and specifically going after trans women when they deal with their trauma, but when trans men deal with their trauma, y'all uplift them? It's like everything a fucking trans woman does is evil, but when trans men do it, they're fucking praised. It's like y'all clearly don't see trans men as men. Okay, I'm not transphobic. I do see you as a man. But clearly y'all don't see yourselves that way. I don't like that for you. Fix that shit. Because maybe if you saw yourself that way, you'd realize that men aren't fucking evil. And if you think that all men are fucking evil, are disgusting pigs or whatever the fuck you think, you need to man the fuck up. You need to grow up, live in the real world. And you presenting as a man, society's gonna treat you that way, and you need to learn that shit fucking fast. Because the real world isn't like fucking Twitter. They're not gonna let that shit slide. But anyway, I wanted to close this video off with, I guess, the biggest lesson that y'all can learn from this. And this is a Reddit thread that just fascinated me, of this trans man who was falsely accused of rape by his coworker. So essentially this awful, disgusting woman, but essentially she pressures this guy into doing something that I guess benefits her work related, and he like acts like a Chad and he's like, no, he doesn't wind up doing it. And so the woman gets pissed and she is set off to ruin this guy. So essentially she falsely accuses him of raping her, and yeah, I guess trigger warning because, you know, rape. And nobody fucking believes this guy. And he goes through his story and how everyone just looks at him differently and they just think he's like this horrible person, and how men's perspective is often ignored. And I understand that, like, obviously a lot of times, like, you know, it's the other way around, and I get that, and that shit's awful. Like, if a man generally rapes a woman, like, that's just fucking disgusting, right? And often, like, women are too afraid to come forward, women are often ignored, but you also can't deny that there are instances where men are falsely accused, and there are women who take advantage of that, and that's not okay either. I just don't think we should be ignoring that perspective and all of the damage it can cause, and I feel like a lot of people too often look the other way and act like that shit doesn't matter because it'll never affect them, right? So this dude is being treated like he's a threat. He doesn't really have a chance to defend himself, but eventually he hears the testimony, and this woman talks about the things that he supposedly did to her with his penis, right? And then this guy is like, wait a second, this is fucking bullshit. I don't have a penis. And it's like, only once he says, I'm a fucking trans man, I don't have a penis, do people actually start like listening to him and start to realize that, oh, this is fucking bullshit. She's lying. He didn't do this shit. Because obviously she can't go into graphic detail like she did about how he did stuff with his penis if he doesn't have a fucking penis. But like, reading this story, you know, it says to me, how many cisgender men are there who've had women lie to them this exact same fucking thing, but now their lives are fucking ruined. They can never find a job, all because some woman decided that she wanted to like ruin a man's life for whatever fucking reason, right? Like, this shit fucking infuriates me. And it also makes me feel awful because clearly this guy has dysphoria and he was stealth. He didn't want to tell people he was trans. But because people are so sexist towards men, and yes, I said that, sexism can go both ways, okay? I'm a fucking trans woman. I know that better than anybody because I've dealt with it on both sides. So what I'm saying is that people don't take this man seriously until they realize that he's trans. And I guess the point of this video is that there's fucking nuance, right? If you look at the world and you think that all men are evil and all women are precious victims, that is just a very one-sided view of the world. Maybe you've had trauma yourself. Maybe that trauma came from men, cisgender men, and you think that all men are evil. But that's just a very narrow-minded view of the world, right? And just because that was your experience doesn't mean that that's everyone's experience. If you decide to boil down everyone of a gender identity and you act like that entire group of people is evil, you're no better than the cis men who hate women. You're no better than incels. That's literally the same fucking shit that you're doing. So what's the moral of the story, okay? Don't be a man hater. Don't be a woman hater. Don't fucking hate people based off of their sexuality, right? I could make a whole fucking video, and I might, about like people who say awful shit about women. Like, I've definitely had people say shit about me, sexist shit. But I feel like there's already a million videos out there about, you know, the world being sexist and how it's awful, right? Like, if I'm making a video like that, I'm not exactly breaking new ground. And when I make a YouTube video, I only want to make it if I feel like I'm providing something new to the platform, because that's what I do. I provide new perspectives that I strongly believe in that people aren't seriously considering. I don't say the same fucking shit that everyone else does. And that's why people get bothered. Like, they look at my channel and they're like, why are you so fucking controversial? Why do you say all this? And it's like, and I say to myself, like, all this other shit that's so fucking obvious, like sexism is awful, racism is awful. Like, I don't have to make a video on these things because they should be fucking obvious. I'm not exactly interested in regurgitating things that are already common knowledge. I want to break new ground. I want to share new perspectives, educate y'all. And I'm hoping that that's why you subscribe to my channel, because you want to hear a different perspective. And again, I want to hear your perspectives. If you want to contact me, you want to talk to me, you want to like have an interesting discussion, you have an interesting perspective you want to share on this channel, please message me on Discord, email me. I want to hear it. Oh, and one last thing before I go. If you're a trans man, I want you to know that, you know, in 30 years, there's a chance that you're going to end up a lot like this guy. But the thing about this dude is that a lot of people in society think that this dude is creepy. Not because he did anything wrong, no, because he's an older man and people just view old men in that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, being perceived as male isn't like all it's cracked up to be. And I feel like a lot of people only see the positives. I guess what I'm saying is when you talk about how you hate all men, you're only hurting yourself. You're only perpetuating the systemic sexism in our society that affects both men and women in different ways. It's two different sides of the same coin. And I think that we need to be working to make society better for everybody. Anyway, that's gonna be it for me. My next video, I'm probably gonna make a video about Blair White. I know I made a video about Grace and Projects recently, and people said that despite me being a trans woman, I wasn't a detransitioner, so therefore I shouldn't have made that video. People said when I talked about the whole Jimmy Kimmel BTS thing that I'm not Asian, so I shouldn't be talking about that, right? Say whatever the fuck you want about me. I think one thing people can clearly say is like, I have the fucking right to talk about Blair White all I want, because I'm a transgender woman as well, who also transitioned early, who also passes, who's also controversial, okay? If anyone has the fucking right to talk about her, it's me, so y'all can't say that shit. She's just making videos that are transphobic and catering to transphobic bigots, and I don't like it. I don't think she's a bad person, but I don't like the direction she's going in, and honestly, I have so much more to talk about. I just kind of feel sorry for her, if anything else. Like, I see her pain, I feel her pain because I know what it's like. I'm gonna provide that whole perspective in my next YouTube video, but I'm also working on like this 7-part series where I'm like ranking every hit song of the decade, and it's just like these fascinating conversations. Like, I recorded like the worst 10 songs of the 904, and that was like 27 minutes of footage, and so I'm thinking I still got 894 songs to go, so this video is gonna wind up being like 10 hours long, if not more. So y'all, let's hope that that video series comes out this year. But I'm recording this video and other videos because it's like I hadn't uploaded in the past month or two, specifically because I'd only been working on that video, and I said to myself, like, I've got to keep working on these other YouTube videos or I'm just never gonna put anything out. So y'all look forward to that in the future. But until then, I want more of these, I guess, shorter videos. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching this Rose Malay. Please subscribe and hit the bell if you enjoyed this video. I want to hit 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.